Dear brothers and sisters, it's wonderful to be here with all of you and have an opportunity to spend some moments together focused on the spiritual arena. Whenever we think about independence, most people take independence to be for a country. What we need to realize is that we all are also living in bondage. As a human being, we are bound to our societies, to our communities, and to the environment in which we find ourselves. And as such, most people are so used to the bondage that very rarely do we think about us being independent of that bondage. And so as we think about independence, it is very important, I think, to realize that we who truly are souls, who are bound to this human existence, to the human body, to our mind, to our intellect, that we all can seek independence of that bonding. And when we start to think about being independent as the true being as we are, then the methods that the great saints and mystics have always been talking about have been the methods of meditation, of sitting in silence, of freeing ourselves of the bondage of the body, of our soul being able to be uplifted into the regions beyond. And so to be able to go on the journey where all these bonds can be broken, first we need to realize that we do have those ropes which are tying us to the environment in which we live. I'd like to start with an example. And this is an example about a young boy. A young boy was growing up with his parents. And at a certain age, he started getting distraught. His mother would always tell him to do his homework. His father would tell him to mow the lawn. He was asked to clean the dishes after the meals. And he started to feel that it was getting very difficult to live in the house. So he felt every time that he wanted to do something, there was some other chore which he was given the responsibilities of doing. And so he decided to run away from home because he wanted to be independent. He was growing older and he thought, oh, let me go by myself. And then he goes out and before going out, he packs his backpack and he puts whatever things he thinks he's going to need and he walks out of the house. And he walks and he goes around the block, and as he's walking, one of the neighbors who's mowing their lawn sees him walking. She said, it's normal, kids go out with a backpack. But then after about 10 or 15 minutes, he saw that that boy was walking again from the same area. And then another 10, 15 minutes later, he saw the boy walk again from the same area. So this happened a few times. And so the neighbors started to think, what is happening with this boy? He looks like he's just going round and round. And so he asked him, he said, what are you doing? I see you walking from here all the time. And the boy said, I'm running from home. So the neighbor says, if you're running away from home, then why are you coming back here? And the little boy says, my mom told me that I can only cross the road when she's with me. So he's going round the block, back and forth, because he can't cross the road. So we all feel like that too. We have our bondages to this outer world. And they come in many shapes and forms. Whether we are hooked up financially, whether we are connected emotionally, whether we are connected mentally. There are so many connections that we have with this world that it's very difficult for us to break them because we're so used to doing things a certain way. Ever since we grew up, our understanding of life is set, and it is very difficult for us to get out of the mode. So, how do we change ourselves to a state where we realize what this life that has been given to us is doing to us? I think the key is to first take some time out and spend it to figure out what is it that we are doing on a daily basis. Most of us are on a regular routine. We get up in the morning, most people might shower in the morning, and you go to work, could be any kind of work, and then we come home, we want to entertain ourselves and take care of our responsibilities, and we do the same thing the next day. And in the weekends, we think, oh, this is time off work, and now we either go out someplace if the weather's nice, or we feel it's entertainment, or once in a while we take a break from everything and go on a longer vacation. But if we look back on how we've been leading our life has been on the same pattern for many, many years. It is difficult for us to break the pattern because we feel that that is how life should be lived. We've done this for many years, and so very rarely do we even think about what is it that we are doing on a daily basis. So to take the time out to focus on how we are leading our life is the first step to try to understand if our life is being led in a manner which is good. As we focus on ourselves, very quickly we will start to question what we are doing. And as we start to question what we are doing, then we have to search for the answers. So questions are very good in life, because the questions are what make us look at whatever arena our attention is and try to find answers to that situation. So as soon as we start to take the time out to figure out if what we are doing is the right thing for us, then we start to question each and everything that we do. And then as we start to dig into that arena, we get answers to our questions. The first thing we realize is that all of these bondages that we have are there because of ourselves. It's not because of someone else. The human tendency is to blame someone else. We all have ups and downs of life. Let's say we're going through a state where some difficulty comes to us because of the financial situation. If we lose our job, we don't think that it's our fault. We think it's the fault of our bosses because they didn't recognize how good we are. It's the fault of the owners because they didn't plan their finances properly. We don't look at maybe our performance was not as well as was needed in that company. If we have a relationship problem, we all feel that the relationship went down because of the other party, not because of us, because we feel like they did something wrong. We never think that we did something wrong. And so the human tendency is to put the blame on someone else. Why? Because the mind is making our ego be bloated so much that all of us think that there is no one better than us. All of us think that we always do all that is right. We all think that the only one who's correct is us. But when we start to look at ourselves, very carefully, then we start to realize maybe there's some shortcoming in us. Maybe the behavior of others is similar to how we behave with them. So the principle of do unto others as you would like them to do unto you starts to set in. And once we start to dig into that, then we start to realize that for us to be calm, for us to be peaceful, for us to be happy, for us to be joyous, we also need to be in that state in our behavior with everyone else. And when that happens, it is then that life starts to get better. Most of us are very depressed most of the time because we feel, oh, this is not working right, or this is not working right, or this thing didn't go well, and that thing didn't go well. So we always remember the words of Sant Singh Ji Maharaj, who would say, go jolly. Life would be so much better. It's very interesting when we look at the teachings of Sant Singh Ji Maharaj. He condensed the teaching in small, small words. Go jolly was one of them. And when we start to understand what the depths of go jolly is, then we'll truly understand what Sant Singh Ji Maharaj was trying to teach each and every one of us. He realized that most of us are quite depressed. We go with sorrow faces, we're always in pain, because there's always something in life which is not happening according to what we wish, and so it pains us and we're in trouble. He realized, and he wanted us to realize, that we have free will. That 25% of our life is free will, in which we can do things the way we want to do them. We have the right to be able to think a certain way, to be able to talk a certain way, to be able to do things a certain way. It is for us to make use of that free will. And so he wanted us, irrespective of whatever state we thought we were in, irrespective of whatever outer bondage we have, irrespective of whatever we thought was bringing pain to us, whether it's financial or emotional or intellectual or mental or any other kind of pain, that we should be happy, fulfilled, and joyous in those states. What is very interesting is that the words that were said by Sant Singh Ji Maharaj many, many, many years ago, today are being proven scientifically to be correct. It's very interesting as we look at the words of the great saints and mystics who've come, some have come like thousands of years ago, some have come recently at the last century, that what they talked about today, because we live in a very scientific, enhanced communities, in which today we believe everything should be scientifically proven. That science today is corroborating with the words of the great saints and mystics. Today, the research that has been done by the medical professionals or the scientists who work in this area or the researchers who work in the area, they're telling us that as we laugh and as we smile, what happens to us is that the endorphins in our system start to get enhanced, which make us feel better. They're recommending smiling and laughing so that not only do we get into a state where our immunity is better, not only we get to a state where we will be happy, but the environment in which we live, that our interaction with everyone else would get to be happier too. And research has shown today that when you get angry or you get depressed, that more work is being done in the human body. And that when you laugh and when you're smiling, that you get into a state in which not only are you physically doing well for the body, but you also are putting yourself in a state in which whatever difficulty is coming your way, and the difficulty could be from any one of the arenas, that they all evaporate very, very quickly. Let's say you have an interaction with someone that's getting to be heated. That means anger is being brought up more and more in both the parties. Now, all of a sudden, if one of them starts to laugh, everything is subdued. All of a sudden, the whole environment changes. All of a sudden, you see that whatever was the argument on which you were going back and forth is forgotten. And it like cools the atmosphere down. So being jolly is a state in which we are enjoying our presence rather than be distraught by our own presence. We, each and everyone has our own presence, whether when we are with a family or with friends or other thing, we all bring our own presence. And if our presence is happy, then not only are we happy, but the presence of everyone else gets affected too. And so when Sant Singh Ji Maharaj talked about being happy, his intention was to make us realize that nothing in the world outside is that important. Nothing in the world outside that you perceive is bringing you trouble is important, because all of that is going to fade away. Granted, we have 75% preordained karma which is associated with us. So that is bound to happen. We're not aware of what baggage we brought with us, so we don't know how we're going to react in a certain situation, or we don't know how that situation comes to us. The reaction in the situation is controlled by us. That's the 25%. But we have no control over the environment that we get thrown into. And so, if we lead our lives in which we get caught up in that environment, then we go into a downward spiral. So the key to life is to have a fulfilling life. The key to life is to realize that this existence is a great, great opportunity for us to be in a state which would be always joyous, which would be always fulfilling, and that state is one in which we find the closeness of God. That's the state in which we find us being one with the Creator. And that state, the saints and mystics have said, we all can reach. Sant Singh Ji Maharaj would often also say, what one man can do, so can another. It's not that there's a certain community which can know God. It's not that there's only certain kind of people who can know God. It's not that God is only available to people of certain affluence. God the Creator is equally available to each and every one of us, irrespective of where we were born, irrespective of what our faiths are, irrespective of what our cultures are. God has given us an equal opportunity to know God. Our real self, our soul, which has been transmigrating from one existence to another, has an opportunity to be with God. And so we all can experience God in our lifetimes. It's a question of using the 25% free will. It's a question of being focused in the right arena. So it's a question of taking the time out at whatever stages of our life we are in to look at what are we really doing. Are our actions and our thoughts and our words taking us to our goal? Do we really know what our goal is? So the first thing that happens is to realize for ourselves what is our goal. Is our goal to be physically fit and fine? Then we'll put our attention in that arena. Is our goal to be able to be very knowledgeable? Then we'll put our attention in that arena. Is our goal to be able to have good relationships with everyone else that we meet? Then we put our attention in that arena. And so if we pick any one of these three goals, then our time and efforts will go into fulfilling that goal. But we realize that even though we could be physically fit, are we going to find God? Is God only available to those who have like big muscles? I guess the answer is no. Because when we look in the past, we've seen saints and mystics even, the ones who are closer to God, come in all shapes and forms. Some were not well physically at all. Then you start to think about the other goals of having a relationship well. So is our relationship with everyone else going to help us find God? Is God in one of those relationships? Can we get to God like that? And the answer is no there too. If we look at any other aspect of our life, of gaining knowledge, so we go and study as hard as we can and get a PhD and maybe do some postdoctorate studies in whatever arena we are excelling in, are we going to find God? And the answer is no there too. So how do we really find God? Not through being physically fit, not through being very knowledgeable about this world, not through having a relationship be terrific. Every time we look back at history and look at the lives of the great saints and mystics, they all talk about finding God in silence. So in silence, we're not gaining any knowledge of the world outside. In silence, we're not enhancing our physical capability. In silence, we're not making a relationship better. So what are we gaining in silence? We're gaining knowledge about that which is beyond what we experience through our physical senses. This is why sitting in silence, whether you call it meditation, whether you call it inversion, whether you call it praying with attention, is at the heart of our journey into what the true purpose of life is all about. Because it is in silence of the world outside that true knowledge starts to open up to us. There's much beyond this physical existence. We all think of our life as being in this earth and on this atmosphere that we find around us. We all look at the sun, we all look at the moon, we look at the stars, we look at the sky, and it's like a big, astrodome all over us. And we all think that that is all there is. Scientists are telling us today there are other planets, and as science has developed, we've been able to send some gadgets to those planets. Now there's talk about even other galaxies, and there's talk about light years, And there's talk about galaxies after galaxies beyond this galaxy in which we find our Earth planet and other planets. So there's so much beyond just in the physical that scientists have been able to find out about. And the great saints and mystics have been talking about regions beyond the physical. Now, scientists haven't gotten there as yet, but the saints have all been talking about regions beyond the physical. And they all talk about a journey that one can take. Not a physical journey, not going in a rocket, but a spiritual journey. A journey of a soul, a journey of a spirit. A journey which takes us beyond the physical, which takes all the bonds of the physical environment which are keeping us tied to this physical world away. They talk about rising above physical body consciousness. And we have now in the scientific world too examples of people having near-death experiences and seeing themselves, seeing their existence beyond the physical. And so science is also now trying to deal with that situation. But saints have been talking about that for thousands of years, that we can go on a spiritual journey, we can rise above physical body consciousness. And what is very interesting is that mostly on Independence Day, there are fireworks. And most people enjoy the fireworks. Enjoy the various fireworks coming up, the various lights coming up. But when you go on the spiritual journey, you see lights and fireworks much, much, much better than anything that you would see on the world outside. Because the journey within is a journey of light. It's a journey of celestial music, of inner sound, because it's a journey of love. The spiritual journey is nothing more than a journey of love. Love for God, love between our soul and the Creator. And wherever there's love, there's happiness. Wherever there's love, there's joy. Wherever there's love, there's peace. And so meditation is a journey of experiencing true love for each and every one of us. The love of the Creator is available to each and every one of us because we, as individuals, are souls which are a part of the whole, which is God the Creator. The bonding between us and God is very, very strong. But since we are only focused on the world outside, we are unable to experience that bonding. Our connection with God is very strong because we're a part of God. It's just that we are so focused on the environment in which we find ourselves that we don't think about God. So when we take the time out to really think about what is it that we are doing, or what the purpose of life is, we get the answers. That this life is given with the great purpose of us being able to have ourselves experience the love of God. And this is why so many scriptures of the world talk about that those who love are the ones who are going to find God. God is an ocean of all love. Our soul is a drop of that ocean, is also full of love. And the way back to God is also through love. So meditation is the way back. It's not like a dry activity. Meditation is very, very joyous because meditation is experiencing the love of the Creator. And as we go on this journey of love, everything in our life gets calm, gets peaceful, gets happy, gets fulfilled. And so as we meditate, as we start to experience more of the love of the Creator, we will find that not only are we peaceful, not only are we fulfilled, but our interactions with everyone else around us are going to get better and better and better. This life has been given to us to experience God love. This life has been given to us to be close to God. This life has been given to us to know God. This life has been given to us to be one with God. And as we start to look at our state of us being covered by layers and layers of mind, matter, and illusion, our soul being covered by this physical body, by the astral body, by the causal body, by the supercausal covering, that these are what are binding us to this physical region. We need to be independent of that. We need to rise above that, and we all can do that. Sant Singh Ji Maharaj also, through his teachings, put those in very few words too. He said, be good, do good, be one. The goal is to be one with God. Sant Singh Ji Maharaj said, we need to be good as we live in this world. Good in thought, good in word, good in deeds. Because when we are good to others, others would be good to us too, and the environment would all be good. So we as an individual need to be good in all kinds of scenarios that we find ourselves in. We need to do good. Not only are we good ourselves, but our actions should be such too that they are good for others. Everyone tries to do good things for themselves, but what is important is to lead a life in which we are doing good for others too. So that's where selfless service comes into play. Selfless service is helping someone else, doing something good for someone else, to make their life better, to take their pain away, to have them lead their lives which should be fulfilling. These are the prerequisites of being one with God. He would also say that an ethical life is a stepping stone to spirituality. So in a few words, he laid the groundwork of what we need to understand, that we need to be one. We need to be ethical in our lives. We need to be loving, we need to be caring, we need to be truthful, we need to be non-violent, we need to be humble, we need to be compassionate, and we need to help each other. These are the prerequisites for us to get to our goals. And to get to our goals and to be in that state, we need to be jolly. So we take the words of Sant Singh Ji Maharaj, just in a few words. He's given us the path back to God. And as we think about independence, let us think about the independence of our soul. Our soul can definitely be independent of all the bondings that we have. One day physically, we are going to leave this physical body. Physical death is a part of our existence. That is not the end of our existence. The saints have all talked about this existence in the human body being a golden opportunity. This is an opportunity in which we can experience our true self. This is an opportunity in which we can take steps to be out of all bondage. We can get off the wheel of transmigration. It's only in the human body that all the faculties have been provided by the Creator to be one with God. And so as we focus on the true purpose of life, then we will definitely be able to find our oneness with God. And as we lead our lives, let us always remember to go jolly, to be smiling, to be laughing, to make the atmosphere well, so that not only are we in that state of happiness and joy, but so is everyone else. So let us meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight, focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who've been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. Those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light in its effulgence. May the grace of the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and the Alpurush Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, be with each and every one of us, and may they guide us towards our goal. We'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state at that time, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. छोड़ दीजिए जी, please leave off.